Is that two knocks at the end and one at the beginning?
I think it's one to start and two to end.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I would like to call the City of Bowie regular City Council meeting of Monday, July the 7th, 2025, here in Council Chambers. It is 8:01 p.m. At this time, I would ask everyone who can to please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, would you confirm that we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor, this evening we do have a quorum in council chambers. We have Councilmember Esteve, Councilmember Rogers, Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley, Mayor Adams, and Councilman Brady. And virtually via Teams, we have Councilmember Ndebumado.
Thank you, City Clerk. At this time, I will ask if we have any agenda additions, deletions, or amendments.
Mr.
Mayor Pro
Mayor,
Tem?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add a brief discussion on the Nike basketball camp to the agenda, new business.
Thank you. Are there any other amendments, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, we will now move on to citizen participation. City Clerk, do we have any? Thank you. At this time, we will call Paul Nadar. Nader. Okay.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and the great staff of City of Bowie. This is a positive thing. Both myself and my wife, really more my wife, is a member of the community garden, and I'd like to give a shout out to the people who are now kind of like running things, Lexi Willems, Ashley Diaz. They're members of they run the green team, so the green team, dream team. And it's such an improvement this year, everything that they've done. And just from little things, being able to answer emails, to large things, better hoses, posts where we could put the hoses, new doors, stuff like that. I mean, things have really improved. And then I'd like a major shout out to Nick Spurgeon and his Crackerjack crew of carpenters who have made the Taj Mahal of city sheds. I mean, if you look at it, it is just so solid. It's just amazing. And they've done a wonderful job. So I just wanted to say something positive about the city.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
I was just wanting to address something.
Council member, go ahead.
Now, Mr. Nadler, if you could, I want you to let you have, because I was going to make this as an announcement, but it'd be better coming from you. Tomorrow night is the 16th anniversary of Claw's creation with their 401c, and you're having a celebration or have an event up at up in Crofton. So I want to give you a chance to give a plug.
Okay, we're going to be at the Nautilus tomorrow night, and we're going to have a couple of cakes, some cheesecake, some chocolate cake, and it's celebrating the 16th year of us getting our 501c3. Actually, I guess the group formed a little bit before that, so maybe it's closer to 17, but this is the month where we received our 501c3. And 16 years is a long time, and we're still here doing great stuff, working with the city. I mean, we have a really good relationship, and we're happy to help the animals, and hope to see you there.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Mayor.
All right, you're quite welcome, Councilman. At this time, we will move on to presentations. And we have the adoption and presentation of a proclamation, P-18-25, proclaiming July 31st, 2025 as World Ranger Day in the city of Bowie.
Mayor,
Yes.
we do have staff here from the park rangers. Would you like them to come up front?
Yes, I would. Please, those from the park rangers, please come up front. Being a very quiet crew this evening.
Come on down.
Please, you have the proclamation?
The proclamation is in,
Probably the top one.
Oh, here we go. Thank you, City Clerk. Now, I'd like to read this to you. The City of Bowie, Maryland, a proclamation of the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, proclaiming July 31st, 2025 as World Ranger Day in the city of Bowie. Whereas World Ranger Day, celebrated on July 31st, is an international event that recognizes the dedicated work of park rangers and other guardians of natural and cultural heritage. And whereas park rangers are essential in conserving the natural beauty, wildlife, and historical treasures of the parks and protected areas around the globe. And whereas World Ranger Day also commemorates rangers who have lost their lives or have been injured in the line of duty, highlighting the risk and sacrifices associated with their profession. And whereas our park rangers play a vital role in supporting the setup and operations of city events, helping to ensure a safe and welcoming environment for all attendees. And whereas the city of Bowie recognizes and appreciates the tireless efforts of our own park rangers and recognizes their dedication and work to protect and manage our parks, providing education and ensuring the safety of visitors to those cherished areas. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, hereby proclaims July 31st, 2025 as World Ranger Day in the City of Bowie, adopted and presented by the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, at a meeting on July 7, 2025. Signed, Timothy J. Adams, Mayor. Congratulations. I think we should come down and take a quick picture. All right. It's like everybody's locked on and put me up here. Okay.
you guys might have to like scooch in a little more there, so good.
So now y'all gotta be eating time. Come on, close it out there. Can somebody come? Do you want to stand up there for a minute?
Pete, go ahead, just there with the mayor, perfect. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Y'all gotta smile, man.
One more, okay. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all again for Again, thank you to our park rangers because they helped to make City the Bowie that it is. Thank you. At this time, we will now move on to the city boards and committees, appointments, reappointments, and swearing in. Mr. John Stewart was interviewed on June 16, 2025, for appointment to the Public Safety Committee. Council concurred to appoint him to the committee as a regular member for a 2-year term. Councilmember Brady, would you please move to appoint?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I would like to move the appointment of Mr. John Stewart, not Comedy Central, to be a regular member of the Public Safety Committee.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. Mr. Stephen Orenstein was interviewed on June 16, 2025, for appointment to the Public Safety Committee. Council concurred to appoint him to the committee as a regular member for a 2-year term. Councilmember Brady, would you again move to appoint him?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'd like to move the appointment of Mr. Stephen Orenstein to the Public Safety Committee as a regular member.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. This is to ask about reappointments. If council concurs to reappoint the following members of the Administrative Review Board for another 2-year term, please move to reappoint them. This is Linda Fuller, John Scholius, and Valerie H. Yancey.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. If council concurs, let's reappoint the following members of the Arts Committee for another 2-year term. Please have council members move to appoint him. Councilmember Estelle?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to appoint Shannon Hayes and Kathleen Parker to a 2-year term on the City of Bowie Arts Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. If council concurs, we should reappoint the following members of the Board of Personnel Appeals for another 2-year term. I would open the floor for a motion to reappoint them. Gail L. Elkins, Richard Sexton, and Jacqueline N. Rome.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, the motion carries. If council concurs to reappoint the following member to the Community Outreach Committee for another 2-year term. Councilmember Stev, would you like to make this motion?
Mayor, I'd like to move to appoint Chair Hunt to a 2-year term on the City of Bowie Community Outreach Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Nays? Hearing none, motion carries. If council concurs to reappoint the following member to the Diversity Committee for another 2-year term, Councilmember Rogers, would you make this motion?
Certainly. I move that we reappoint Brittany Bunn to the Diversity Committee for another 2-year term.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. Council concurs to reappoint the following members to the Education Committee for another 2-year term. Councilmember Ndamamadu, would you like to move to reappoint them?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. If council members concur to reappoint the following member to the Environmental Advisory Committee for another 2-year term. Mayor Pro Tem Wolfley, would you like to move for the reappointment?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'd like to move for reappointment to another 2-year term for Mr. Elmer Dengler.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. If council concurs to reappoint the following members of the Ethics Commission for another 2-year term, may I have a motion to reappoint Ismael Canales, Alan R. Koliski, Daniel E. Thomas, John P. Fagan Jr., and Carl Stemmer.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carried. If council concurs to reappoint the following member to the Financial Advisory Committee for another 2-year term, Councilman Wolfley, would you move to reappoint them?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to reappoint Mr. Carl Robinson to the Financial Advisory Committee for another 2-year term.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carried. If council concurs to reappoint the following members to the Green Team Executive Committee for another 2-year term, Councilmember Rogers, would you make the move to reappoint them?
Yes, I move to reappoint Robert Callaway and Michael Lagua to the Green Team Executive Committee for another 2-year term.
Second, okay. Thank you. It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. If council concurs to reappoint the following member of the Information Technology Committee for another 2-year term, Councilmember Ndamamadu, would you like to make this motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to reappoint John Ines to the Information Technology Committee for another 2-year term.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. If council concurs to reappoint the following members of the Public Safety Committee for another 2-year term, Councilmember Brady, would you move to make this reappointment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to reappoint Mr. Langston Clay and Jeffrey G. Cooper to the Public Safety Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor.
Mr. Mayor, you missed number 6. You missed number 6.
Okay. If council concurs to reappoint the following members to the Economic Development Committee for another 2-year term, please have Councilmember Brady move to reappoint.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the reappointment of Mr. Kevin Kennedy Jr. and Mr. Andrew M. Round to the Economic Development Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you. At this time, if Mr. John Stewart is here, come forward, please, by the microphone. And Mr. Stephen Ornstein, please come up. Would you come down as we do the swearing in? Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, John Stewart,
I, Stephen Ornstein,
Do swear or affirm
do swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and the laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithful,
to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithful,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of and state which committee you will be going on.
execute the office of the Public Safety Committee,
the office of the Public Safety Committee, regular member,
According to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and the laws of this state.
and the laws of this state.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Please come forward.
All right. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ours and the community as well.
Mr. Stewart, here you go.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you for your volunteerism. The same with you, sir. Thank you so very much. Can you reach it? There we go. Hey, thank you again.
See you guys Wednesday night.
Hey.
There you go.
Oh, you got me hanging here.
You got him hanging there.
You got me hanging here. Oh, me too. All right, there we go. All right.
Excellent.
Hey, thank you so very much. Again, we appreciate the volunteerism that we get from our committee, and we thank all of those who were reappointed this evening as well. At this time, I will open the floor to council announcements. Any council announcements? Councilmember DeFore-Wolfe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick follow-up on the conversation that Mr. Nadler had started with us earlier, which is on the community garden. I reiterate the fine work that's been done by the city staff on that. It's been well-received and well-regarded by all the community members who participate. And I want to take the opportunity to make a plug for anybody that would like to be a community gardener. I believe we still have a few slots available, so go to the website and you can see that there is a place to reach out, and you can sign up and have your own plot. I take advantage of it myself, and it really is a wonderful benefit for the community. So thank you all for the good work that you do, and make everybody aware that there's still an opportunity for those at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any other announcements at this time?
Mine was already made.
Okay. Hearing none, we will now move on to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor Adams, City Council,
Good evening.
and members of out there and residents watching on television. Tonight we had a celebration of our Rangers. And that's a classic example of how the 400-plus staff members that we have here in Bowie do a job very well in what we call in the business seamlessly. You don't know what's happening because it's always happening without any troubles. We also have seamless service delivery when it comes to our streets division, our utilities, our stormwater, our management employees, our snow plowing. If you remember last winter, we had 2 or 3 nice storms, and many others in our police department and others. So what I wanted to say is the most challenging task that we have is recruitment. Even though there's been some layoffs in areas, just getting the right people on the bus in the right seats going in the right direction is a hard thing to do. It's something we work at all the time. So when you see those young employees out there who do these jobs in an outstanding fashion, you know, we, myself and the HR director, we work really hard to get them to work for us. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, City Manager. I'm sure they appreciate it. All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, the motion carries. We will now move on to old business, the street striping update. We will have the staff update the council on the status of striping on neighborhood streets.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. It's been a joint effort between Public Works and the PD, and tonight we'll be presenting the traffic calming program updates for fiscal year 25, also future plans. Next slide, please. I don't have behind you for a second. So first one is the striping. City of Bowie has about almost 160,000 linear feet of striping, and each fiscal year we are restriping about 30,000 linear feet, which is equivalent to about quarter or 25% of our inventory. And in addition, we are also doing about 3,000 linear feet of our short lines, including arrows, crosswalks, and stop bars. And to your right, those are the streets to be restriped this year, as an example. And the following 2 slides shows the map of striping as well as the short lines. We broke it down to north and south of Bowie because it's difficult to capture all the streets in one slide. And followed by the, yes, this is the striping accomplishments in the south of Bowie. Next item is the radar speed signs. Currently, we are rotating 9 speed signs, but thanks to the additional funding available approved by the council, we ordered the 3 additional signs in the past fiscal year. And once we receive them in coming weeks, we'll be rotating 12 radar speed signs. And to your right, those are all the streets that we currently have. We've mounted the digital speed signs in the city of Bowie. And again, the following maps show the current and past locations for past fiscal year 25 of the all the radar speed signs in the city. Next 2 topics, speed cameras and directed enforcement will be covered by Chief Preston.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council.
Good evening.
As you can see, we currently have 34 locations approved through the city for speed cameras, but we only have 12 speed camera devices that we rotate periodically through those 34 locations. When we usually conduct a rotation after about a 60-day period, 60 to 90-day period, and that's based upon performance data that's analyzed by the traffic management work group. Generally, we do not rotate all 12 cameras. Many of the locations are static locations that will remain with a camera continually based upon the number of violations that currently still occur. The goal of the program is to change behavior and to improve speeding in those particular areas, and that's one of the things that we evaluate before we remove a camera. So if there's a low rate of violations, we assume that there's either no speeding occurring in that particular location, or it has changed the behavior, and that drives the decision to rotate the camera. So you see that they're enforced 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the residential locations, and that over 84,000 citations have been issued year to date. Violations mailed were 50,312. This camera depicts the location, this map depicts the location of the cameras that have been deployed in the north side of the city. And likewise, this shows where those cameras at authorized locations are for the south side of the city. Directed enforcement are activities and actions based upon complaints that we've received from various means, whether it's through the city's website, whether it's from direct calls to the police department or other means for complaints of speeding throughout the city. For FY25, we targeted 26 locations. We conducted 292 traffic stops, issued 79 citations, and warnings 357, and equipment repair orders 30. Now, it should be noted that that is only for the directed enforcement statistics that are assigned to patrol officers as they have time. Our first priority is answering calls for service, and this no way denotes the number of traffic stops that we have conducted totally through the police department, which, bear with me 1 second, I have that number for you. So year to date, we've conducted, or in the last 12 months, we've conducted 2,460 traffic stops. So that's the total number of traffic stops, but this slide that you're seeing is based upon the 26 locations where we receive complaints, and we've taken enforcement action based upon day of the week and time of the day specifically, based upon what data was measured. Again, this information is depicted on the map here in the north side of the city, as well as the south side.
Traffic study, Works Department, this year alone, we conducted 17 traffic studies. It's more than ever conducted compared to previous years. And we also ordered the one additional traffic counter, because it'll be covered in the later slides, but we are hoping to increase the frequency of traffic studies, and expanded throughout the entire city. The following slides shows the locations of all the traffic studies performed including this year and the previous years. And moving forward, we are hoping to implement the following items. Neighborhood traffic management policy. Per council's guidance, we've been working with the consultant to revise the neighborhood traffic policy. One of the comment was our existing, somewhat dated policy may not reflect the unique characteristics of the city. And we've also, by the consultant, we've been reaching out neighboring municipalities in the area to see how their policy compares to ours. And based on those studies, we are working to revise the traffic management policy, and it's being reviewed by the staff and hoping to be presented to council for approval in fiscal year 26, sometime in fall. With that, as I briefly mentioned, that we are hoping to perform a traffic study on all city streets by the FY 29, and starting FY 2030, we will be updating every street in every 5 years. With that, we don't have to be reactive, but rather we will be proactively propose recommendations in terms of traffic management or traffic calming, and we'll have, as Chief mentioned, that based on the traffic study, we will have more data-driven enforcement developed based on the traffic data.
And just to reiterate, our speed cameras, we reviewed as the traffic management work group on a quarterly basis to determine the locations and the priority for where those speed cameras need to be placed, as well as the police department does possess 2 mobile speed trailers that just flash speed. One is currently under repair. One is being deployed. Again, we will work in conjunction with Public Works between the radar signs that they possess and the speed trailer to determine which locations for those devices to be placed.
And last but not least, we are hoping to present a quarterly report to the council about all the activities and our future plans moving forward. With that, that concludes our presentation. Any comments, questions we may answer?
Yes, thank you so very much, and thank you for the briefing, and also looking forward to getting that plan once you completed it, and the study and the review, because that is key for us moving forward. And I can just kind of comment and say, I think we all understand that we need to be in a data-driven mode now as a city. To move forward, that's the key. And so thank you for what you're looking at doing and doing that. And at this time, I'll ask if any council members have a question for Director On or for Chief Preston. Okay. Councilman DeFore-Wolfe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation as well, and appreciate the collaborative effort with the police department and the Public Works and in trying to improve things on a kind of day-to-day basis, and this notion of a new policy, which we're very much looking forward to. Excuse me. Can you tell me which other communities you've been kind of checking in with for their policies?
So couple, it'll be part of the report presented to you, but we've reached out to Rockville, Frederick, and few other smaller municipalities in Virginia and Maryland as well. But we will have a complete list presented for as a part of the final report.
Excellent. Has Cheverly been included?
Which one?
Cheverly?
I do not believe that's part of the,
Because I know they've got a lot of roads with a lot of cut-through problems, and they've taken engaged in some significant efforts to mitigate that burden on the people who live on those streets. So that might be a good cross-check as well. And College Park, I think, may also have.
College Park has been part of the.
Okay, excellent. Because I'm particularly interested in crosswalks with communities that have similar complaints and problems raised by their constituents that we do. And I see that in a number of places that there's been some significant efforts taken to slow down traffic on residential streets. So if you could make sure that we're including those communities, that would be a paramount interest to me.
Yes, Councilman.
And then a follow-up on that is you mentioned, I think that this fall, you think sometime for getting, excellent, very good, thank you. And then I want to also ask about the cameras. There had been a discussion when we initiated this program. We selected locations. Chief, can you, do you recall how many of those locations were fixed school-related versus those that are kind of eligible for rotating and at our discretion? I shouldn't say, they're all, I suppose, at our discretion, but nonetheless, beyond the schools.
Guessing off the, I don't know specific to hold me to this, but I believe it's 7 locations are permanent in terms of school zones. But we have the total of 34 authorized locations that we rotate 12 cameras. The primary locations that are repeat offenders are the cameras in front of Bowie High School on Annapolis Road. We maintain the cameras on Northview Road, Northview Drive. We've had a camera placed in the area of, bear with me, I was just reviewing Tulip Grove, reference to the school over in that area. But the most problematic areas have remained to be, Annapolis Road is the location that has the most offenses.
Excellent, thank you. When we expanded the use of the cameras, we had discussed that after we'd been underway for a while, that we would take another opportunity to revisit the authorized locations and to determine if there are other locations, opportunities to expand or to relocate away from current. That is to say, if there's a, I don't want to say, if there's a reduced or diminished need in some of our early locations, perhaps there may be other parts of the community that could benefit. Where do we stand on being able to do something like that?
Well, one of the things that should be noted that of all the 34 locations over the last year, we have done a complete rotation. So every authorized location has had a camera placed in that location. So we've succeeded in doing that. We do have a complete listing and reporting on the performance data for each location. Some locations do not demonstrate a problem with speeding at all. So that's something that we will evaluate as a committee, whether or not it's beneficial to place a camera there going forward. But we are always evaluating based upon complaints that we receive, accident data, and information that we have in the work group, additional locations where a camera would be productive. I know that we're evaluating another location on Mitchellville Road. We currently have 1 camera on Mitchellville Road. We're looking at another location to deploy, and we're still working with the state. I'm down in Old Bowie to, it's an authorized location. I believe it's 11th Street, but we need state approval, and we're working, the vendor's currently working with the state to get that permit so that we can place a camera there.
Excellent. I know that there's always been an issue down in that area, so thank you for following up on that. There's another location on Trinity that pops up from time to time. I think it ebbs and flows with people's level of frustration, but if we could take a look at that, I'm sure there's some other locations. I'll put a call out and see if there are any other places that folks might have an interest in, and I'll share that with you for evaluation by the committee.
Sure, and I can share a complete listing that We've done other streets that have been evaluated, but based upon several factors, they were found not to be conducive, topography, road curvature, and things of that sort. Needs to be a certain distance in line of sight for it to be suitable for a location. So when those don't meet those standards, then we use traditional means of enforcement, and that's the information that we discussed in the management work group.
Excellent, thank you.
Mr. Mears, did you have a comment?
Yes, I just want to add that Dr. On's plan in terms of being more proactive associated with our traffic studies on the streets are going to really lean into having some data in regards to where we need to be. I know a lot of the locations we've had before have been anecdotal. Those don't always bear fruit in regards to being a location where there are a high number of violations, even though sometimes they are perceived to be. So by getting a better handle on our traffic studies, rotating through them and getting all our streets evaluated, we're going to have better data, better analysis in terms of where we need to be putting the speed cameras or other measures.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mears. Are there any other questions? Councilman Staff?
Thank you, staff, for the update. Do you have any suggestions, and this is for Dr. Ong or Chief Preston, for how best we can communicate with the public when there's a gap between the data and the perceptions? Because I think, as you all know very well, I've probably put in more speed study requests than a lot of council members combined over the years. And my frustration, the reason why I brought this up 2 years ago, is because I felt like we were spending tons of personnel hours and lots of money on studies. And I don't think in 10 years I've had one study come back and say affirmatively, yes, this is a good area for some sort of traffic mitigation. So knowing that the issue, data is great, but let's be very honest with ourselves, data is not the problem. The problem is public perception. So what can we do? How can we communicate with residents when we run into that public perception issue? Because telling my constituents, don't worry, we did a study, you're just crazy, it's not dangerous, isn't gonna work, right?
Yeah, I can answer for speed camera. What I traditionally do is, as I host the community matters meetings, I have a separate presentation on the performance of speed cameras and traffic enforcement. And during that presentation, I lay out for each location where those cameras have been placed, the number of violations that have been issued to address the concerns about speeding. In addition to that, I often share and point our residents to the website on how to request a traffic study that's conducted by Public Works. Now, I believe that the current study that's being done to enhance and make changes to the program will be effective. And once that's completed, that's something that we can continue to educate the community on. And based upon, the results of that study may bring about those improvements that our residents are seeking, and then, turn those perceptions into reality in terms of some of the solutions that can be put in place.
If I may, so hence, that's one of the purpose of revising or revisiting this traffic management policy to make it more custom tailored to the city of Bowie. And at the same time, that once we expand this traffic study, we will be able to have more data-based discussion. It's again, it's numbers will tell the truth. It will paint the correct, accurate picture, assessment of the situation. But and in addition, that it's just not based on our subjective judgment. It's that's why we are reviewing traffic management policies around the area. So that way, once we propose and adopted by the council, that it's not something that's pushed by the city, but it's in the area and recognized by the traffic professionals. But the key is being consistent with a policy is a very important aspect of any policy, Councilman.
No, I hear you, and it's not the subjectivity of staff that I worry about. I fully trust you guys are going to be very objective and methodical. But that's the concern. Is there's my residents who are not traffic engineers, and I'm not a traffic engineer, still have a lot of concerns that, data and policy, is not addressing. And that's something that we'll just have to think through. And I don't know, maybe there's some videos we can produce with the communications team about what we actually do, how we respond to speeding, what's, safe, what's not. I think a lot of residents are often surprised when they get data on actual measured speeds versus what they perceive, right? And apparently human eyeballs just aren't actually that good at divining speeds and so on. So, and a lot of this, frankly, is just driven by, just for context, a lot of this is driven by the fact that we just have more younger families moving in. And so, parents of my generation are particularly cautious as a group, and I think you just have kids playing in front yards, and people are kind of a renewed generational concern around perceptions of safety. All that being said, I'm deeply grateful to the whole public safety and public works team for the speed cameras that have gone into place. You guys have been really responsive and really proactive with that, and I'm really grateful to both of you for your help where we've been able to get some solutions in place. So I don't want anyone to get the perception that we're not taking this seriously. It's just we got a perception gap we got to fill. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. I'll just say, to preface my questions, I try to drive around every section of Bowie when I go out to shop or whatever I do. I try to hit districts 1, 2, 3, and 4, particularly 1 and 2. And then sometimes a little, my office is in 4, so I see that all the time, and I live in 3. Some things are perceptions, other issues around speeding is usually happening on county roads that we don't have any control over. So I see that too, because they're zooming past me when there's not even a passing lane. So, I get it, I understand it. So question, is there a strategy for the speed studies that are being planned for fiscal years 26 through 29?
Yes, Councilwoman. We'll be targeting the streets with a higher traffic volume and has a wider width first, because they tend to have more speeding related issues. And then in the following years, we'll address some of the less traveled streets in the city. But the main goal is to have a baseline inventory or to complete the speed traffic study of the all city streets by 29. That way, starting year 2020-30, we'll have a periodic traffic study done, and we'll always have traffic study less than 5 years old at our hands.
That's a great strategy. And I asked that question because as we build more developments, particularly those adjacent to Route 301, 301 becomes more and more backed up. And I find that as I drive through the city, there are cars that are coming off of 301 and driving through the city. So I know that that is causing some, not only the speeding, but the, cars where I normally don't see cars driving through the community. So thank you for that. The other thing I'll ask, in regard to this traffic studies that you had north of Bowie as well as south of Bowie, and you had the purple lines around it, indicating which year the study was last done. Is there a listing of that so that I could, right here I can't see it, but if there's a list that gives the last date, then I can be more responsive to constituents in the city when they ask about traffic studies or when the last one was done in their community. Thank you.
Certainly, yes. So as it's being converted into PDF for the presentation, it lost resolution, but we have high resolution maps as well as the full list of streets where traffic study conducted in the past.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
Councilwoman.
And if we
Yes.
can get a copy, particularly me, they may already know, it's probably in their brains, but it's not in mine. So if you could share a copy, I'd appreciate it. That's my
Certainly.
questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me start off by citing a line out of Rod Stewart's song from years ago called Ooh La La. And the line is, I wish I knew then what I know now. I was here when we basically plagiarized the county's traffic calming policy and made it our own, but we didn't make it our own, we just plagiarized their document. And I think at that time it was very reactionary. The onus was on the citizenry to come forward, lodge a complaint, go through the headache of the study, the disappointment because the study would never come forward. So I'm very glad to see a more proactive aspect. And one aspect, and it's the title of tonight's thing, Street Striping Update. In retrospect, if narrowing the footprint of the road has a positive effect, then we should have been pulling those lines in all along. We shouldn't have had it as part of a traffic calming policy because it's good engineering to do that. So I want to see that continue, that aspect of it. And to that end, I noticed, I pulled up a copy of the city, we have our own warrant study process, policy, and what have you. And again, it looks like it was plagiarized from the county, and it seems oriented for arterial and collector roads and major roads, not city streets. So I'd suggest that staff, Public Works, the police department, the law, work with the Public Safety Committee and look at that document and see how it can be tweaked to be more reflective of the needs of the city and can form a basis for addressing some of the issues with regards to that. I know the problem that we have is our location. And why I say that is when 3 shuts down in the afternoon, especially on Friday, I suspect there's a lot of traffic cutting through Bowie to get off of 50 to go to Crofton. I'm wondering if there's any way, any analysis that could be done to see how impactful that is. What are the stresses? Is it excessive speeds or people running stop signs in a hurry to get home? And see if we can be proactive in looking at that and maybe using like digital maps when it shows where the areas are slowing down drastically. Maybe that's where we should put some police resources to address it. But look at it and see if there's not a way to be a little more proactive when it comes to that. Traffic calming, warrant study. And while we are talking about that, when we had the application for the church at Church Road in Mount Oak, it was pointed out that Driftwood, I think they said was a level D or level E service in their study for that proposal. I would ask staff and ask council's concurrence with this, is look at that intersection and Notting Hill and Mount Oak. Any time of the day when I go by Notting Hill, it seems to be queued, not necessarily tied to rush hour morning and evening, but I'm wondering if we shouldn't coordinate and work with the county to do traffic studies for those too. And I personally have an expectation of a traffic light for both locations, so that I would ask my colleagues for support in that request. And then I know that over the years, I've had people suggest and remind me they used to have setups where the police with members of the community would have a speed gun and they'd get out there. And do we not do that anymore? Is that not something that is done anymore? Is that something that was done like 10, 20 years ago and it's kind of died away?
Yeah, you may be dating yourself, council member, a little bit, but that's not something we've done recently. But one of the things I do want to know, because I do pick up your point on having some focused efforts in terms of traffic enforcement. It's been extremely challenging, as you all know, about staffing levels we've had over the last year. And while we're making great strides in that, we currently have 7 in the police academy, 8, I'm sorry, in the police academy, 7 slated to graduate in October. So the plans is to ramp up our traffic enforcement efforts and have more dedicated officers in the traffic enforcement unit. So their primary responsibility will be traffic enforcement.
Right.
We have not been able to do that because, all of our resources for special units have been disbanded and maintain calls for service as it relates to patrol squads. So as our over the course of the next year in FY26, as our staffing levels continue to increase, then we'll be able to have those dedicated resources for those specific specialties, that focus on long-term problematic complex issues such as traffic enforcement and some of the other nuisance-related crimes that we experience in the city that are more complex that the average patrol officer just doesn't have the time to focus on.
Okay. And the reason I bring that up is it's a two-sided, two-edged sword, if you will. When you do those kind of events where you have the citizens with an officer and they're seeing the speed coming down, either it'll convince the officer there is a speeding problem, or it'll convince the citizens that I thought the guy was doing 45 and he's only doing 27. The perception, the individual's perception of what speed is sometimes false. So I see it as a two-way benefit there that could possibly, and I don't want to spend all your time and all your resources to do this, just throwing it out as a possibility. With that, I've got a few others, but with that, I appreciate your time, appreciate staff's effort on this, and I'm especially very glad to hear proactive rather than reactive. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions?
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I have a question.
Please go right away. Right ahead, Councilwoman Andabamadu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, staff. Thank you so much for the presentation. Extremely insightful and very helpful. And also want to thank our city staff for putting this together pretty quickly once it was first requested. So I appreciate that. My first question is around rumble strips. I remember we did have a conversation about rumble strips and the application of them in certain neighborhoods. Is this something that we're still moving forward with? Is this something that you've already laid down in certain neighborhoods and in certain areas, or is this something that we are looking past?
Councilwoman, this is on. So as a part of the revised policy is also expanding alternate traffic calming measures, and rumble strip is one of them, and we will consider that as an option if it's applicable.
Thank you for that update. I remember there was a statement that was made at a previous discussion that we had where there was some money that was left over, and if I remember correctly, there was a statement that was made that rumble strips were being currently explored with some FY budget money that was left over. So did we not end up exploring that?
Apologies, I'm not aware of that discussion that might have happened before my time, but since I heard from you, that will be certainly considered in this current fiscal year 26, Councilwoman.
Thank you for that. I'll follow up tomorrow with an email to our city manager and assistant city manager and yourself just to give more context to see if that will help get me a better kind of clarifying answer. I appreciate that. My next question is around the policy that you're looking at, that you are working on implementing now. How does that align to our smart cities policy and the use of emerging technologies?
So it will enable us to help a data-driven decisions, and also we are heavily utilizing GIS-based approach as well. With these initiatives, we will have more rather than reactive but more proactive approach, but based on data, and also we will be able to generate maps and the graphics for public education or also for reporting purposes as well.
Awesome, thank you. That's super helpful. My next question is around just general awareness. Are there new updated ways to do traffic studies? I don't necessarily want to speak to the depth of our process because I don't know that I fully know the ins and outs of it. I do know it at a high level, but are we currently exploring probably other ways to possibly look at doing traffic studies? Are there other municipalities adopting new ways to do traffic studies that reduce the burden on, I guess you would say, manpower and man hours?
So in general, there are three different types of traffic studies being performed. One is the traditional strip lines that you place on the traveling lane, and it detects any tire movement passing through. And another technology is using video or image processing. One of the limitations of a video, the image processing is it's heavily affected by the weather conditions. And also if it's for whichever reason, if the image is blocked or hampered by for whatever reason, that it's not able to processing it. And the last technology or methodology is using LiDAR technology. It is effective method. However, it's costly and it's not as mobile. So each method has a pros and cons, but for our purpose, the traditional the stripe method is most cost effective. That's why that'll be my recommendation, Councilwoman.
Thank you so much for that. I do hope that given just the category of emerging technologies and all that we are doing under smart cities, that we can possibly continue to continuously explore new technologies that might come out that make it easier for us to do these traffic studies, because I know that sometimes it can be a bit timely, and when constituents do report that something might be happening in a given particular neighborhood, the turnaround time can be something that's undesirable for them. So I do hope that going forward, as you are looking at the policy, it's something that we can continue to consider and see if there's always better out there that might work for our adoption. My last question is around just drone usage and drone technologies. I've heard of some municipalities using drones in terms of traffic, not necessarily enforcement, but more so traffic pattern monitoring. I don't necessarily know what the drone regulations are in Prince George's County, but if I remember correctly, I do believe that there are some kind of setbacks to using drones in this area. Is that something that we face challenges with, or can you help me understand why we don't use them?
Good evening, Councilwoman. We just purchased another drone. So we actually have a upcoming meeting scheduled for next week as we develop our SOPs. We currently have 4 civilian pilots that have recently passed the test to become drone operators. So we're moving in a direction to really enhance and utilize the UAVs in a more proactive way. The primary focus has been on crime reduction, but for traffic enforcement is something that we haven't looked into at this point in time, but it's something that as the traffic management work group, we can put on the agenda to evaluate the usage and see how we can employ that and assist with the traffic management issues within the city.
Thank you so much. That would be really awesome if we can explore just the dual usage, because I do know that sometimes there's some satellite imagery that could be very helpful in us understanding how patterns are evolving. But as long as people our residents are comfortable with that, I think that would be amazing. So thank you so much for that update. Those are all my questions.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. I guess I'd like to just at this point say thank you, to the staff, but also to you, Director Ahn and Chief Preston. I think it's impressive the way you work together and what you're doing for the city as we move forward. So that seamless transaction between the two of you, at least from what we see, is great. And thank you for all you do, and thank you for the information tonight. And again, I look forward to that, after the staff review of that report, that we get a chance to see that. All right. City Manager, anything you'd like to add?
No, sir, thank you.
All right.
Right.
Thank you. The new business, this is new, so we can't.
Revitalizations first.
I think that's, okay. At this time, we will do the Old Town revitalization. The city's consultant and Excavate Community Development Partners will provide an update on their activity in Old Town Bowie. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, staff, fellow residents. Appreciate the opportunity to be before you tonight. And I'm going to practice the 3 B's, brothers be brief, because I know you have a lot more things to do. But I wanted to come before you just to give you an update on the project we've been working on for the city, the Old Town Bowie revitalization. So some of you don't know, and I don't look like, I'm an avid cyclist, right? I ride on a lot of roads in Bowie. Some roads I shouldn't be riding on, some I do. But my favorite road is 564. Why do I like that? Because it takes me right into the heart of Old Town Bowie, and it shows me some of the past and some of the future of what it could be. Yes, there's speeding and traffic calming issues we have to work on. I can't wait for that camera on 11th Street. But in the meantime, instead of hearing from me, I wanted you to hear from other folks in the community to talk about the work from different scope areas. So I'll set the stage and then I'll hand it off. So basically, what we've been looking at now is just all of the public improvements. We spent the first year talking to residents, we conducted a community survey, and we consider Old Town Bowie a pilot for what we can do to reimagine revitalization of the rest of the city. And we looked at a couple things. We've done some economic development support. You'll hear from a local entrepreneur who's my targeted first anchor tenant, small-scale manufacturer to me in Old Town Bowie. You'll hear from a consultant that's done this work across the country, and you'll hear from the local residents. But what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit is our branding idea and campaign that we've worked on. So based on the idea and the work we've done and the work, we said, okay, what makes sense in Old Town Bowie? As you know, and I came before you and said before, small-scale craft manufacturing. And what does that mean? That's anything from food to technology. And the reason we like it is because it engages the community entrepreneurs. We found evidence of local entrepreneurs within the city of Bowie, within Old Town, within the county, that are just making things. They're practicing. We consider that the broad advanced manufacturing, which is a national priority, but it's small scale. It creates walkability, it creates community, it creates connection, and it creates a sense of place. And we also been engaging with the arts community. So we noticed that, a lot of the murals are going up there too, but if we could tell the story of the city, the story of Old Town Bowie in an artistic way, that would create a destination, a place. And that would be a pilot for what we could do, the rest of the city. So just from an economic impact standpoint, small scale craft manufacturing jobs are 50% to 100% higher paid than retail jobs, because a lot of times when we think about small towns and we think about main streets, we think about retail. While that's important, the identity of Old Town Bowie, we want to make it around manufacturing. So that's woodworkers, that's crafters, that's jewelers, that's textile workers, and craft artists. So that's one thing. So the wages would be more. Annual revenue for these sectors are 40K if someone's just a hobbyist, to 250K if someone's a small-scale producer. And with e-commerce, that number could be larger. And the most busy and most efficient post office, if I was an e-commerce business, would be in Old Town Bowie, because she just gets you in and out of there. So if I wanted to grow my business in e-commerce, I would use that post office as well. And then when you talk about the outlook for the industry in the county, we're seeing an increase in food batch makers. I know the county has a lot of food deserts. So one of our concepts about a shared commercial kitchen, something for food entrepreneurs, food trucks, before they can get there. We have a lot of woodworkers, and then we have a lot of craft artists. So that's the context of what we found out in the past year. So let's talk about the brand, right? The current work, we're going to call it Crafted in Bowie rather than Waiting Bowie, because that creates the history, that talks about the culture, and it talks about the connection of handmade goods and community connection. And what we want to say is that the narrative that we're painting is a historic charm meets this contemporary Maker District culture, positioning Old Town as a creative and maker district. And I'll skip over the core values and just get right to it so you can hear from others. So in year one, we determined what kind of maker spaces made sense, the benefits of them, and possible practices to consider. We have recommendations on the success of broader maker district, and you'll hear about that in a second, and how to build small-scale manufacturing ecosystem. And we're currently working on refining the Crafted and Bowie brand. Our next milestone is our Old Bowie Celebrates, where we hope to launch the brand, launch an idea for our interactive AR mural program, and some sort of concept to help move us forward. I'll talk about what we need at the end, but right now, I'd like Ilana to come up and talk about Recast City's work. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Ilana Prus, and I am the founder and CEO of Recast City. I work nationally with communities just like yours to figure out exactly this question. We have this amazing place in our community. What do we do with it? It's not the way it once was. We see greatness there that we want to create something new, and that's exactly what I worked with Mark on with Old Town Bowie. These beautiful old buildings that have absolute life in them and could have life in them, and what do we do with them? When we work with communities, we identify small craft producers from that community to understand what are their needs. This is about entrepreneurship. This is about small business growth. This is about good paying jobs, and this is about bringing a place to life. We've worked over the last 10 years in over 200 communities in over 44 states. And I really had a pleasure working with the business owners and the community members in Bowie. One of the major things we found from these interviews, we do direct interviews with producers, with property owners, with different people who are providing support to this business sector, is that we found that the lack of available real estate is really a key barrier for this sector. And so one of the things that we recommended from our work together is the idea of a land trust, where a public entity or a nonprofit entity can acquire properties to be able to do the rehabilitation that these older properties need, put them back into a state of good repair, and bring these small-scale users into the space. Some of the businesses might want very small footprint space, and some might want larger. They might want shared spaces, like Mark was talking with different maker spaces, like a food production space, a shared commercial kitchen. We saw a lot of demand for. And really figuring out not only how to create the real estate space for them, but the support and the branding and the promotion for it, telling their story, having a series of neighborhood-based small-scale events that bring neighborhood members together as a way to prize this business sector and support it, so that we're going from artisans to advanced manufacturing, all within this neighborhood. And there's a number of other recommendations that we've provided in the report. I'm happy to answer any questions about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm the conductor here. Next up, we have Dale from Samosa Supreme, local entrepreneur.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dale Smith. I am with Samosa Supreme. We've had our company for 10 years now here in the Bowie area, and received a lot of support from the community. We've developed and grown, and now we're to the point of going to the next stage. So we are now at the point of wanting to manufacture our product, manufacture so that we can provide it to retailers as well as to sell it wholesale. So I've actually been looking for a location for the last 2 or 3 years where I could actually manufacture the product, because I've had requests from various institutions and retailers and locations. So it's been a challenge for me to find such a location. So something like this would be very helpful to me. I would consider it small-scale manufacturing. Usually when you think of manufacturing, you're thinking of a large facility with lots of people. Such a manufacturing facility for myself could work with 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, depending on the machine or type of equipment that you're using, food processing equipment. So such a facility would be very helpful to myself as well as to other restaurateurs that I'm familiar with that are interested in producing a product or mass producing a product that could be made available to other people. At my location, there was a facility next to me, which was actually a shared kitchen. It was a commercial kitchen. And I had an opportunity to manage that kitchen for a couple of years. And during that time, I found there was a great need for that shared commercial space. You had primarily caterers and businesses that had food trucks that would utilize that facility. But you had as many as 20 to 30 different businesses that would come and use it and share it on an hourly basis. So it was very beneficial to them. It was also very beneficial to the building owner who was providing the space. So it was beneficial and lucrative to him and benefited the businesses. So each one of these entities would actually create about 2 to 3 jobs for people if they're doing catering or on a food truck. So it's also beneficial to the community that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we did this in conjunction and benefit with the community. So I'd like you to come up and talk to and give you a community residence perspective that actually lives in Old Town Bowie.
Hello. Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor, the rest of the fantastic city staff that I've already met, some of them, Mr. King, and everyone else that I've yet to meet. My name is Hume. I'm one of the newer residents of Old Town Bowie. My bride and Suzanne, who's here tonight, purchased a bank-owned property that needed a little bit of work on Church Lane, right behind the old Catholic church, right off of Lanham Severn Road in August of 2023. One of the biggest questions that came to mind while driving to our new home through Old Town Bowie was why the area seemed to be so neglected when it had so much charm and potential. That question was answered when we responded to John King's flyer in the mail inviting residents to attend the community meeting about Old Town Bowie and the 5-year revitalization plan. John King called for volunteers during that meeting, and I was excited for the opportunity to throw my hat in the ring and be a part of the revitalization as a resident. Since then, I've met with Mark 5 times, including 2 separate community meetings with residents and small businesses. I also responded to a survey that Mark sent out to residents asking for input on revitalization plans. Mark shared the results with us, and I noticed 350 people responded, which shows very strong community engagement. I'm not sure what the total amount was, but that's a lot of people that responded. In addition, he has brought on Alana Prius to help conduct a makerspace feasibility study. I've met with Ms. Prius one-on-one to share my thoughts and was given an opportunity to voice my opinions, and I believe that any resident could have met with her as well, and in fact, many did, to voice their opinions and their wants. In my professional life, I've sold residential real estate for the past 17 years, and it's always been a dream of mine to get into the commercial space. As Ms. Prius mentioned, that one of the problems that I have come across is that the commercial finance that I might have access to only gives that financing with a cash positive property, and some of these properties that are in disrepair, are currently not in a positive cash flow position. So something needs to happen, for example, that land trust, in order for the buildings to really be revitalized in some way. Unless you have, that much cash out of pocket, I don't know how else it's done. And finally, according to Mark's vision of the 5-year revitalization plan, a craft maker space with a focus on small-scale manufacturing could make Old Town Bowie a very distinct place for residents of Old Town Bowie and the greater Bowie city to be proud of. Like I said, I've been a residential resale realtor for the past 17 years, and I work with a lot of buyers. I'm actually showing a couple buyers this weekend, homes in Bowie City. So I've showed a lot of buyers, a lot of different houses, and quite a few in Bowie itself. And I know that, making Old Town Bowie a distinct place is something that they can and be proud of and would be drawn to. To wrap up, I feel the momentum in the community building, so please see it through and don't let it stop. If you have any questions, thanks.
So I guess they stole my thunder, but again, I appreciate the opportunity. Selfishly, this keeps me off the road. I've seen this work done across the country. We have the infrastructure, we have the bones. I know the questions you asked me last time, I've been heavily focused on the real estate, the property. We're coming up with some solutions for that. A community land trust is one option. We're exploring others, but happy to talk to you and address any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone at this time? Councilman Esteve?
Tell me more about how the community land trust would work.
So community land trust, it's different than a real estate investment vehicle, but the short order of it, a municipality, a nonprofit developer, or both invest into a trust, they acquire property, it gets developed and spun out. So it runs different than a real estate investment trust, whereas the community has say, it's governed by a board, and they control the land and the properties and how they develop. So it's one of the newer models, that and a special purpose trust to address the capital gaps for, one, overpriced properties, but two, trying to buy and revitalize at scale. But happy to talk to you in more detail. I just gave you the high-level overview of that.
You may not know off the top of your head, but maybe we could follow up. Are there any other towns in Maryland that have used this model successfully?
Sorry?
Are there any other towns in Maryland or communities in Maryland that have used this model successfully?
Not that I know, but there's a couple other towns and folks that I actually know that I've worked with, who I've consulted. The Rondo Community Land Trust, which is out in St. Louis, St. Paul, Missouri, they've been able to not only do residential, but branch into commercial real estate acquisition, and they have over $250 million worth of commercial real estate under management that they develop for that community.
Okay. Given what I know about Old Bowie, and I want you obviously to continue exploring options, but given what I know about Old Bowie, is the challenges that everyone has described are very real and enduring. I know Laurel has faced some similar challenges trying to get parts of their Main Street going again, although they have more bones to work with. But I appreciate the work that you're doing. I'm interested in hearing more ideas, and I think seeing examples of models where this has worked in places that'll be comparable to Old Bowie will make us feel good about this.
Okay.
So thank you.
Will do.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Rogers?
You want to go next?
No, go ahead. I'll go after. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I love the reimagination of things that look so cut and dry. So I absolutely love that. So my questions are, as we move forward with this reimagination, one of the things, well, there are two things that I know that there are sort of stumbling blocks. One is getting the sellers to sell. So, creating a trust. The other part, and I have found this, is even broader than Bowie, it's probably Prince George's County, is the incentives to get those businesses to come in, those maker, crafters, or whatever. What incentives have you thought about, not only for getting the business here, but also to get the businesses, the owners of the property to sell? Have you kind of thought that through a little bit?
Well, there's two things. So the owners of the property, to get them to sell is to pay the price and get the value, right? So they have price negotiation, those things. I don't know if they care about the programming as much. For the makers, we consider this under advanced manufacturing, which is one of the governor's lighthouse industries. So there's a lot of state incentives from Maryland Makerspace Initiative, which helped us do the feasibility study and also helps us build makerspaces, to a lot of other programs that are in DCD, Department of Housing and Community Development, around advanced manufacturing. There's other philanthropy and other community foundation manufacturing, because it does workforce, it creates workforce, it teaches skills. And so there's a whole bunch of programs that we've been looking at that we are just, the key thing is having real estate and actually program it, because it's just pie in the sky right now. So they are really based on a place and an address, but there are a number of programs that support entrepreneurs. And then in my nature, it's really building the ecosystem. So advanced manufacturing is a thing we've been all in on in this region. The idea is to get it at the right scale. It makes sense for the community. And most manufacturing, especially anything from newer technology to food, doesn't need as much square footage as it does before. It just needs the technology and the supply chain. So we've been running accelerator programs for manufacturing entrepreneurs out of, the Minority Business Development Agency is one program that I help support, where they have small scale manufacturers that they're already looking for spaces to help them grow. So there's two sides of it. Real estate is one side, but the manufacturing piece, the businesses are there. We just need to create the environment, the culture, and the density of manufacturing activity to create that investment.
So point of clarification. So year one, you're conceptualizing. Year two, you'll be kind of making that more solid, that concept?
Yeah, year two's focused all on the real estate, if I understand your question.
On the real
and
estate
making it
part,
real,
yeah, okay.
Right? And then year two, the real estate and community activation events. So we have some things planned for Old Bowie Celebration. We want to also do a food craft maker fair to build that community, because we found out there's a lot of folks that are there. Either they're doing it in their homes or they're doing it somewhere else. So we want to create events for them to convene. And then we also want to tell the story. The third thing we're going to do in year two is art. So we have this interactive AR mural program that's going to talk about the history of Old Bowie, but also paint this crafted in Bowie vision so that people can see it visually until we get the real estate up and running.
Did you see what they did with the Lions Club?
Yes, I ride by there every day.
Okay,
so
cool,
yes.
cool. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Ndababadu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. First off, great presentation. I really hope that I didn't miss any samosas that were given out tonight. I love Dale's establishment. Great place. Everyone should go there. Really, really, really love the direction, especially on manufacturing. Really, really love that, because I do think I was at the county exec's office last week, and it was really great to hear from her team around like just some data that different council members have been exploring on how communities like ours have not traditionally been exposed to manufacturing, and being able to go deeper in that craft and be a manufacturer themselves and invest in supply chain. So I think, I'm sure you'll already do this, but it would be amazing to see kind of in this maker space the connection between like the Walmarts and the Targets of the world to help them with that supply chain distribution, since they're in our backyard and we correspond with them all the time, and they're always sending all these email updates on what those businesses are doing to just really help fuel that ecosystem once more people are getting into the program. I would really love to see that. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Thank you for that.
Then I think,
But go ahead. I know you have a question.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that because, we have been talking to Walmart again. When you talk about product distribution, supply chain, we are looking at getting our first set of manufacturers as qualified vendors that could be in that ecosystem. But also another little known fact, maybe not little known fact, when you talk about e-commerce and distribution, Old Town Bowie sits right there on the what we call Mayfos East, which is large internet. So broadband is there, just not going to all the commercial properties. So when you talk about transforming a community and building a community for the future, broadband communications and the infrastructure is already there.
That's amazing to hear. One of the things just to put on your radar, you probably already know about it, but Comcast, I forget the specific word for it, they have these spaces that they essentially do in combination with maker spaces. Eric, I forget what his last name is. He was the rep for Marriott, but he just recently went to Comcast. But essentially, they have an initiative where they will co-build things like this with communities who lack in broadband infrastructure. So happy to connect you with that rep. They're looking at Bowie as like an establishment to be able to build more facilities so that people have that internet access, or they're able to provide laptops and things like that to help connect the community. So I think that would be something that you could look at working on with them, since they have the money and the resources.
Thank you.
Second, my actual question is around love the land trust idea, but my main question is, how do you, I know that you'll go deeper into this, but one thing that I would love to learn is how you plan on executing or advising us the execution mechanisms of a land trust in a time when REIT structures are so popular.
So working on that. So we have a proposal and some experts that are putting together different models. I should have something to Mr. King that he can share with you all within a couple weeks, but they come up with different options, right? So part of the land trust works as a fund. Obviously, once you establish it, then you have to identify the individuals, prospect them, get them to invest. And a portion of it, that's the high net worth or the early adopters. But the other piece of it is crafting the units to share that the community can buy in and feel like they own a piece of the revitalization. That's the piece that we're working on, the numbers and the math. Because I don't know what the actual number is yet. So we have 7 properties that we're looking at. So the total of that plus some overhead for construction will be the number for the first raise for this land trust. But once we get that information, be happy to share it with you all.
Awesome. Thank you. Great presentation. Have a great night.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Councilman DeFore Wolfe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks for your presentation this evening. So under the current vision, what's the finished neighborhood look like? Is it geared more towards retail individuals or more towards the the manufacturing side? And I'm not against either one. I'm trying to figure out kind of what it looks like when I walk down there.
So it's going to be a little bit of both, and I know that's not an acceptable answer, but here's why, right? So to keep the quaint community culture, right, we don't want to go full-blown retail, but it'll be dual-purpose spaces, like manufacturing in the back, small pop-up shop in the front, right? So it'll have that retail component, and that's the core places that the nonprofit is going to control. But other vendors, obviously, once they see the momentum, will move in. We've talked to a couple people, local breweries. We've talked to folks around the city. We don't want to pilfer from other parts of the city, so we'll get them to pop up. But anything that'll fit that identity, so say light retail, but heavy small-scale manufacturer will pop up, and mostly event-driven. Because a lot of communities we see, if you look at Union Market, if you look at Our House, yes, they have their sort of production piece, but it's more of an experience, a community event. People are lounging, engaging. So we'll have a little bit of both. So it won't be one or the other per se. It'll be both.
Excellent, thank you. And then the follow-up to that is, since there is going to be a kind of retail consumer component to this as the target audience, what do we label it as? I don't think makerspace is something that people will kind of understand what it is. How do we describe it in a colloquial manner?
So you give me about 4 or 5 weeks when PPR Strategies is done, and I'll have that for you. But right now, it's crafted in Bowie, right? Crafted, made. So that's the story. They're going to work on all the brand elements and how we tell that more colloquially so that it reaches everyone.
Okay. All right. Well, look forward to seeing that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Brady.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentations. Very good. I see steps moving forward, and it's very positive, and it's promising. And I can remember the first master plan for Old Town Bowie was in like '98. A lot of promises, and it stalled. And then there have been a couple others attempts, and they stalled. And I pray this one doesn't stall. It's got a set of feet that I think will support it as it moves forward. But the question I want to ask, and I don't want to discourage or I don't want to ask any negative, so don't take this as a negative, but you can't exist by yourself with what you're planning. There's the periphery around that. Are there things that the state, the city, the county can do to start improving and aiding in your development of this site? Because, you know, we have people constantly complaining about the status of the sidewalks and the streets in there. So are there tangential items outside of your control that others can help in this effort to complement what you're doing and what your dream is?
Yeah, great question. But I think, yes, to your point, working with, not by myself, and that's why I brought other representatives as well. But in addition, we have a steering committee, and then there is a citizens list of fixtures and things that we need to fix to market it. Those are progressively being worked by the county and the state. So we are seeing progress on that. I think the next couple milestones have to do with the bridge and the crosswalk on 564 as you go over to Old Town Bowie, down to the main area. But I think the other thing is we have been looking at, and they've been asking for the price tag for, you know, we know we need more sidewalks in Old Town Bowie, especially along Chestnut Road, because it sort of starts and stop. And then the other piece, we've been working heavily with parking planning and Arts and Humanities Commission around the trail area. So the trail, extending the trail up to the actual MARC station in Bowie Stadium and extending it down further to Zug Road. So all those things are in the work, and they aren't on my control, but they're all incorporated, and they're all at the table when we're having meetings about how we move this forward.
Okay, so it's a big picture, not just your single project. Well, that's good to hear. That's promising.
But I was only supposed to brief what I was doing.
No, I appreciate that. And I'm thinking from the experience over 30 years, I think the more people we have involved, the more actors we have that are playing parts in this, the more likely the outcome is going to be favorable as opposed to disappointing as we've seen over the years. So I wish you well, and let us know how we can continue to move this forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, first and foremost, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. It's obvious you've been working hard at this.
All right.
And we appreciate that.
Thanks.
And we're looking forward to more.
Samosas and Old Bowie.
Yeah, we're looking for it. We're
Thank
looking for it.
All right.
So thank you so much, and we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Look forward to hearing from you again soon. All right, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just want to, next item on the agenda is something I asked to be put on, which is this Nike basketball camp, which is going to be occurring this summer, July. I think they start 14th, another one the 21st, and then into August for another one. And there have been some discussions here among members of the council about how we could provide some support for the community. And I had offered up an opportunity for us to have a brief discussion, get people's input on it. My thoughts on this were that we have some discretionary money in our budget that we could sponsor a handful, maybe a half a dozen kids to go to the and participate in these basketball camps who might not otherwise be able to attend, be able to afford it or whatever. And that would give us an opportunity to help support our community while at the same time being supportive of the operation that's coming in and doing their good works over at the city gym. So anyway, I wanted to offer that up as an opportunity for discussion, see if people are amenable to that. And if so, then we could move it forward. And if there's not interest, then certainly understand that as well.
Councilwoman Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I did have an opportunity to do a little research on the Nike camp, because I think any opportunity for kids to experience Nike, particularly during the summertime, is a great experience. So I did see that their fee to participate is almost $500 per kid. So if you had 2 kids that you were interested in sending, and it's only like, the camps are only like a week or so long.
Each, and it's 3 of them, yes.
Yeah, and it's 3 camps. So, and I also did some research on their business model. So it looks like their business model is crafted. So they would pay for the gym fees, but what I would like to see is to have, and I don't know how this is done, and maybe staff has an opportunity to do so, but I would like to see us support sending some Bowie kids to this basketball camp through a scholarship, or, and they have 3 categories. They have boys 10 to 17, boys 6 to 12, and girls 6 to 17. So maybe it's $100 or $250. I don't know. Maybe it's even more than that per kid, so that we can help the Bowie kids attend. Okay.
If I may, Councilwoman, I
Certainly.
got some information on that.
Great.
And for us, the city, to sponsor 6 kids, and I will be sending that to all of you, it's $2,100 because they've got Nike to reduce their fees for those kids who can't afford to be there. And so for us to send 6 kids to the camp, it would only be $2,100.
That's good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that would be great, because I really would, I mean, I would love for Bowie kids to have that opportunity and that experience. So that sounds good to me. Thank you.
Can I look at us agreeing on this, or do we need to put a motion in to do this?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Where's the information on this? I understand that it was just pulled on the agenda, but I don't have any information to review this ask or even thoughtfully consider this discussion. So I'm trying to understand, where is this ask coming from and where is the paper trail on it?
Okay, the ask is coming from the foundation, and we're going through that, and I just received, as we were up here, the email with all the details. But we knew about the Nike camp because it's being held here at the Bowie gym.
Right, but the financial ask to support kids to go to the camp, that's what I'm asking for. Where is that?
Where is the ask?
Like, where are the details? Like, when you say $2,100, I don't even understand where that dollar amount is coming from. So what I'm asking for is, like, where are the details?
Councilwoman, that's what I was just saying. I just received the ask from the organization, and I will be forwarding that email to everyone. But when we talk about this, we're looking at now 2,100 to send 6 kids. And I will definitely forward you the email.
Thank you so much. I would like to receive that. The only thing that I'll add to this discussion is when we did bring up a program for District 4 that benefited all of the city of Bowie, this conversation didn't go as seamlessly as the one that's happening before us. So of course, I'm asking for details the same way that I was asked for details and scrutinized in public on behalf of advocating for my district. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Any questions?
Yeah.
If you'd like, Mr. Mayor, I can make a motion. I would move to provide $2,100 in funds from our existing discretionary budget for approximately six Bowie residents who might not otherwise be able to attend the Nike basketball camps this summer in the amount, $2,100.
Give a second.
Can we have on readiness?
Discussion?
Yeah, discussion, please. So we heard, all right, so this was a last minute thing, and we heard the councilwoman have concerns. She just needs to understand it better, and how it all originated, where it came from, how did we find out about it? And I know the mayor has been, key in getting information around this. I think in all fairness to her, I don't know how, well, the camps are starting now. So, it'd probably be best to just, I can go ahead and second it, but I also feel in fairness, everybody needs to have information, background. So, okay, I'm finished with my unreadiness.
Okay, yeah, and I just
I can
forwarded
second
to
it.
everyone the.
Okay, I can second.
Okay, I just forwarded to everyone the email.
Thank you.
And so it lists out those numbers. And, I was approached by people asking about it, and I think we discussed, but it is short term.
I can second.
Okay,
I just had some unreadiness, and I just wanted to make sure everything was addressed, so I can second it.
it's been moved and probably second. Any further discussion? Mr. Brady, Councilman Brady.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to agree with Councilwoman, but not Roxy. I'm sorry.
And
Didn't mean to-
Mamadi.
Thank you. This is the first I'm hearing of it. And I'm troubled because of the expediency of moving this through so quickly. Did I hear you say that there were 3 sessions, or is there just 1 session?
3.
There are 3 sessions in time or in groups in parallel?
Time.
In time?
There will be one session that I believe is for the 6 to 18, and one from 7 to 18, and then one that's all girls.
I understand that, but are they run in parallel?
No, they're
Or are they
1 week.
sequential?
They're sequential.
Okay.
1 week, then another week,
And-
and then another week.
And what are the dates of the 3 sequential?
I want to say the
Well-
14th.
Oh, Councilwoman Rogers.
I have them, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I Googled it. July the 14th through the 18th, July 21st through the 25th, August the 11th through the 15th.
Okay,
And this is the Nike Basketball Camp, Bowie City Gymnasium.
right.
It looks like they have camp coaches, one being Carrie Bridges, who's a Bowie resident, and a WNBA
Okay,
person that helps.
thank you.
as well.
Question, staff. We have another meeting in 2 weeks, correct?
You have another meeting next week.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
In light of that, there doesn't seem to be an emergency, although if we don't act tonight, there won't be funds available for the first session, but if we act in 2 weeks, if we can properly disseminate the information, we get the word out to the public so they understand what we're doing, I think that's a better way to handle it than to all of a sudden make this decision tonight. I think we look bad if we move on it tonight, and I would suggest tabling it for 2 weeks and then acting after we all get the appropriate amount of it. Not that I'm necessarily opposed to it, I just don't know, because this is, as I said earlier, this is the first I'm hearing about it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, one more time, for all council members, you should have received the email that now states all of the facts and all about the camp and all. The one thing I don't want is for us to exclude some kids from that first camp. So I think we'll need to come up with a way, if you get a chance to look at the email and see, and we can put it out. I mean, it's a camp that's been publicized. So it is out there. So, I mean, I agree with your son. Go ahead.
Maybe we could work towards some way of reimbursement for somebody for those from the first session.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds
But make the decision in 2 weeks?
In 1 week.
next week.
Next week.
1 week.
1 week.
One.
I mean,
There's a meeting next
at the
Monday-
next meeting,
Monday
fine.
night.
The next meeting. All right, so we table this for a week?
So moved, table?
Table.
I second.
Okay, and I just want to make sure everybody understand that you should have the emails in your box.
Thank you.
Excellent.
That'll answer those, so we'll be able to prepare it for next week. Okay? Good. I now look at you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. Oop.
What?
No, there was a,
Excuse
We
me.
need a motion to table.
I'm going to recognize Councilwoman Brady.
thank you. I was just saying you had a motion to table and second. It's on the table, we have to vote on it before we go into any other business.
Who seconded? You seconded. Oh, okay. It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion?
There, you can't.
It's tabled, so there
Motion
is
to
no
table is not
discussion.
debatable.
All in favor, please respond with aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to adjourn to closed session under statutory authority of the Maryland Annotated Code, General Provisions, Article Section 3-305B1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals.
It's been moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, please respond with an aye. Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, the motion carries, and we will adjourn to closed session.